to the Fantasy Trail, episode 9, our week 6 roundup. I'm Matt with
JT.
Mike here.
And we have a special guest.
Former member, current analyst, Lee.
All right. Well,
How many
let's
years
go ahead
back
and
has it
go
been?
underway, man.
Lee, how many years has it been since you were
It's
league?
probably 7, 8 years, I'd say.
Oh, it's been a bit.
Sounds about right.
Been a
And
bit.
Lee is a founding member of the league that only Matt and I share. So there's actually somewhat of a camaraderie leaving one certain gentleman out.
My exit is surrounded in scandal, but we'll just leave it at that.
Yeah, use your imagination. All right, we want to hit up these week 6 matchups tomorrow.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's start it with Angela and Michael. Michael had a quite convincing win.
Yeah.
You know,
How much is he loving Shady McCoy right now?
Oh, absolutely.
absolutely. You know, Michael's team is one of those teams that I was just looking at recently, and in it with Bell, McCoy, and honestly, at this point moving forward, and I don't know how that's going to be reflected in the power rankings, JT, but he has one of the better teams to go up against. Period.
Yeah, his quarterback situation is a little bit of a toss-up when he's throwing Semien in there, but that's mostly because he had Rivers going against Denver. It ended up being a smart play. I don't know what happens with Bell with the Roethlisberger situation, but yeah,
I mean,
he's got
he'll be back in 2 weeks, so I mean,
not bad.
not bad.
Not bad.
But,
And I'd
you know,
play him that 1 week. I mean, you might get a touchdown out of it.
But now, I mean, I know Angela has a lot of injuries on her bench.
Yeah.
But she did have 60 bench points. Ajayi, that looks like that could be someone who really helps her out.
It
Yeah,
does
and-
look like he tore it up.
Sure, but Eli is also part of that, and he's not going to be. He's not
Well,
going to be
you know what, JT? I was just listening to a sports radio show that was talking about Rodgers, and I think, honestly, for one of the first times we've really started to hear some criticism towards him, towards some of his mechanics. His throws were off. He was just as to blame as any other player for the loss last week.
Oh, absolutely. I think he's hurt. I don't think they're telling us exactly what it is.
I can buy that.
He just looks off.
Yeah,
But he's still completing 73% of his passes?
sure, he seems to get it. He just doesn't look as sharp as he once did. I know. I mean, he is on the other side of 30, and I'm not 100% sure, but there's something wrong there.
All right, but with all that said, is she ever benching him?
No.
Well, I mean, look at Eli's score last week, though.
With the lack of a running game to balance his offense, it's just not going to happen. And Dallas.
I mean, I think
No
I think Lacey looked pretty good considering. And we'll see. I mean, I don't think Lacey's going to play Thursday night, but we'll see what Niles Davis does. I mean, Niles Davis did have a couple productive weeks a couple of years ago.
Okay.
You look at someone like what Tim Hightower did last year at the end of the season.
Yeah, I hear he might not play too much, being that he just got traded today and he's got 2 days to learn the offense. But even so, I don't know. Angela's in a weird spot, but that Ajayi pick is going to potentially be a massive one if he continues to play like that.
Does Foster stay out? I think so at this point, but I wouldn't say 100%.
Yeah, he Foster burned me this week.
Oh, always. All right, Tamala, what's next?
All right, let's go to Colin against Casey. And Colin had quite the convincing win, even with Lacey and Booker. Curly put up a terrible score for him, and yet he still managed to put up a good score.
Well, Brady being back, massive, and he
Yes.
ran with a double tight end, and they both played well. Same game.
Now, Fleener, I mean, rushing touchdown, really? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing about Casey is I just can't. I can't. I love the kid to death, but just sometimes with football and the Cowboys, and I've always said one of the most spoiled fan bases there are. it just burns me terribly to think that he's right about Dak Prescott. But it keeps me up at night. But he is.
He played Alex Smith.
But he's bound to play Dak.
Scarano, he had 3 quarterbacks on his team, and he played the only one that scored in single digits.
So you're saying, although could be right about Dak, let the poor coaching just decide this.
Just let him go. And tomorrow,
I remember a Toby Gerhardt first-round pick at one point, and perhaps that'll come back.
No. And yes, JT, I am keeping score at home.
I figured you would.
I have a brief question to pose to the group here about Dak Prescott. Are we going to see a quarterback controversy, much like we did with the Patriots in 2001?
No.
You
Romo's
think
going to get seriously hurt on his comeback trail, and his back isn't going to be ready.
Have you ever seen Inside the NFL where the guy goes, "I'm calling the game later, so I'm not going to respond"? I'm doing that right now. I'm calling the game later, so I'm not going to respond.
I think
it'll be just a later hot take.
I think Dallas is a walking controversy. I think that they have a good thing going, and that's a guarantee that there will be an issue that will get in the way of that good thing within a few weeks.
Now, also, if you're Casey, are you worried about DeMarco Murray? 12 points against Cleveland?
Nah. Weird game. It was all Mariota.
He did have a touchdown.
Yeah, he's been a star. He's still the number 1 back in the league.
I mean,
he's over David Johnson still?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay, I mean, my bad. I'm just keeping on because he had 3 touchdowns last night.
True. I didn't look after last night. I'll look now and tell you.
I think he may have
it's fine. It's fine. It's not really
right.
the point.
He slipped. You're right. He's down to 3.
Okay. And I'm not trying to be like second guessing.
Who's 2?
Probably Ezekiel Elliott.
Ezekiel Elliott.
No, Zeke's 4.
So who's 2?
So who are they? I'm interested in this.
Yeah, I'll look it up while you guys are talking.
Okay.
Go on to that match.
Oh, it's got to be McCoy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that makes sense.
No. Because
yeah, he's right.
He's right. Burn.
All right. Next, we have JT's wife putting a beat down on Rich.
Yeah.
Drew Brees, just unbelievable.
I'm counting on this. This is my only ticket to the money train. I have never rooted harder for my wife. My season is a disaster. It's all up to Joel.
Hope you don't have a joint bank account.
Go for it. This is great.
Hope you don't have a joint bank account.
Another one, 55 points left on his bench. Now, granted, 25 of that was for Matt Ryan.
But is Ryan, to me, and I'm in a league where I have Ryan and Dak, and I'm playing Ryan every week?
Yeah, Ryan in Seattle would have been a tough call. I see why he did it, but
I did play him in Seattle last week, and it paid.
He would have lost by less than a point if he did it, so it almost would have sucked more.
Okay.
And then you have Terrence West, big game, another big game for Joel.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a steal.
And a steal.
Absolutely.
All right.
But besides from that, Jamal Charles, 12 points. Jeffrey.
Is he back?
13, but a lot of other low scores.
Yeah, without a doubt. She continues to kind of do with smoke and mirrors, but in the end, it's 5 wins, and I feel like she's feeling pretty good to make the playoffs already. And once you get in the playoffs, you never know.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Especially with the colder months coming.
Yep.
The next matchup was one of my favorites of the weekend. Brian losing to Jake.
Brian finally
this
called
kind of just makes me feel good for Brian to lose, even though, again, like I said, I love the kid to death, but just somehow with the Browns thing rubs me the wrong way. Glad he lost.
Wait, no. Am I sensing some sort of North Carolina theme here with you, Mike?
It's not UNC. Go ahead and let's talk about Jake's team for just a second. Again, it's always been one of the teams that I just think tough out any week.
He had a horrible performance from Carr, a non-existent performance from Freeman, and he still won by 15 with a pretty good score. He got a 0 from the Rams D. It is a roller coaster of high scores and low scores.
Ertz less than 3 points in tight end. I mean,
Train wreck.
but Miller with the huge game.
Miller, first time all year with the big game. That was
Yep.
I wouldn't buy it. I wouldn't buy it.
buy it or not. You know, I he's been insanely inconsistent, but he needed that one.
Yep.
That's what got him the win. Without that, he loses.
All right. Next up, we have JT finally winning a game against Rachel. JT, this is the second
really?
week in a row.
Oh,
Big
really?
score.
I forgot about that. Oh, man. Any words to say, JT, to your pal there, man?
Well, you know, I took a lot of crap from a certain individual about, I don't know, power rankings or something along those lines. But it was interesting to see that when push came to shove and we played each other, that I whooped her ass. And I'll be honest, it was a completely out of my own ass move where I pulled Kenny Britt off the waiver wire that morning and inserted him for a 29 and my victory.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you,
Thanks, Rachel.
I mean, you know, moving forward, JT, you have to be worried about Forte, but Meredith on your bench looks like he could be a steal. And
Doug Martin comes back, so
I'm
I'm already debating sitting Forte down.
You're in the same boat as me, man. We lost too many. I think we could probably win out, and I still think there's a solid chance we wouldn't make the playoffs.
I was sitting there this weekend doing the math already. All it took was one win to get my interest back in there.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what, a 3-3 team right now is making the playoffs. So that means I'm only 2 games out of the playoffs. I feel like I have a chance.
All right.
And you do.
I like it.
Next game. Do you want to talk about the last game of the weekend?
I do.
Scarano? Anyone there?
Me? I thought what JT won. Here's the deal, man. This year's an absolute train wreck for me. I don't know what's working. I wish I could check this statistic. Projected points versus actual scored points. Because I'm getting about a minus 50 each week.
Just to be clear,
what's happening. My quarterback just went out.
That's another word for hype, by the way.
My quarterback just went out. Langford going down didn't help me. At this point, the whole thing's a wash. I don't know what to do. I'll still set my team. I'll still play. But I have no chance at getting back into this league. Sorry,
you lost
guys.
by 104. You lost by 104.
That's old news, Mike. You're crying over spilled milk here. Move on.
Listen, I am, my friend. To my other 3 leagues. This isn't working.
Hit the waiver wire like your Copart here. Find a Kenny Britt and win.
There it is.
And Scarano, I only got 5 points from 2 flex positions.
Ouch.
Who else did you have? Just let's clarify this.
Oh, if I put in Duke Johnson and then Michael Thomas, that would have been 30 points.
Let's go over your team now, because let's get some people
to be fair, Kamala, you had just an insanely great week. I mean, 172 with 2 week scores.
Keeping in mind, a couple weeks ago, I would have beat you. And that's one thing about this the funny part about this in general. 2 weeks ago, I would have beat you.
Okay, we'll wait till the points scored at the power rankings, and we'll see how you come out.
All right.
So that concludes the matchups for this week.
Lee.
And I think that brings us to a new segment.
All right. Well, what I have here is a list of players that I want to talk about to buy, sell, or as in your case, since you guys don't trade, start them, sit them. First, we'll start off with some quarterbacks here. One player that I was specifically low on recently was Matt Ryan. He was a top 5 quarterback in September for the last 5 years, but had finished top 5 at the end of the year, 0 of the last 5 years. Now, going into Seattle, losing by 2 points, but still putting up 3 touchdowns. He's on my buy list. Sam Bradford. Who would have thunk it? 5-0 coming off a bye. And finally, for my buys for quarterbacks, Dak Prescott. Sell. Cam Newton. Tire fire. Sorry, guys. And
about us.
And the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. and the Red Rifle, Andy Dalton.
Never been a fan. They have no
Okay.
soul. Can't stand the hair. Keep going.
We're going to go on to running backs. These are players that I think you should start every week. DeMarco Murray, obviously, top 5 running back. LaShawn McCoy for my Buffalo Bills. Ezekiel Elliott. Now, selling is a bit more controversy than the buy here. I want a permanent sell on Adrian Peterson. I think he's done. His career in the NFL is over, and Jamal Charles is not far behind.
That's a little hot take-esque, but I like it.
All right, I got a question for you, though. Was anybody watching the Bills game when McCoy got hit?
Yes, I was.
Did you think his season was over?
Well,
I did. I gave up on the year right at that hit.
right at that.
But he does that all the time. He gets injured like 3 times a game.
Yeah, and most of the time he's torn something or broke something and he's done.
Oh, no.
You're like, exactly.
No,
Man.
he always goes in and out like that all the time.
All right. I remember
Fair.
seeing on our group chat that there was he's out for the year. Was it Casey who said that?
It was Casey, to be fair. It's not
Oh,
exactly a voice
my.
of reason.
This is exactly what I'm referring to.
The Buffalo Bills and Rex Ryan are epicenter for running backs. We have Gillisley on our bench. Last year, Carlos Williams. All right, I'm going to continue on with my sell then, if that's okay.
Continue.
I'm selling Carlos Hyde. Colin Kaepernick, worst team in the NFL, despite their 1-5 record.
I believe Hyde was watching practice with his arm in a sling today.
That's what I heard.
Oh, okay.
And I'd like to sell all Seattle running backs. We've transitioned. Russell Wilson is now a modern-day quarterback. He'll be passing the ball, especially with Jimmy Graham coming back. Briefly on kickers, I personally drafted this kicker, Gostowski. Nothing for me. I sold him for Matt Bryant.
Okay.
Who did that trade?
Waiver wire.
Now, what would you guys think about no kickers in the league next year?
I hate kickers.
I could go for it. I think you give me a yes vote on that one. It's just random bullshit. I mean, maybe you could say a team who moves the ball a little more might get a few more points.
Let's play a third flex, and kick out kickers.
Ooh, I like that.
All right, now I have some wide receivers. Bit controversial here. I'm going to buy Terrell Pryor.
Oh yeah,
If you don't have him, get him.
Mala does. Sadly, he was on it from the beginning of the year. To his credit, he talked about it at the draft.
Yep.
I'm going to buy.
I mean, he looked, and you know what? Coming from the preseason, I would say his season's a disappointment. He looked amazing this preseason.
I mean, I wouldn't call it a disappointment.
Yeah, you call it a disappointment, dude. He threw out Pryor. Anything is better than what we all thought he was going to do in the NFL.
Yeah.
2 touchdowns against the top 10 ranked defense and against the pass.
Yeah, and Tamala, he's the number 9 ranked wide receiver. He was
Yeah,
a
how
quarter.
is that a disappointment by any means?
Yeah, can't argue with his results.
Buy. Cole
Imagine if he had an NFL quarterback throwing the ball to him.
Buy Cole Beasley. You don't have him? Get him. He's the Julian Edelman of 2016. He is Dak Prescott's favorite wide receiver. He had
That's incredible.
two receiving touchdowns this past weekend in Green Bay. And finally, for buy, Michael Crabtree. He's a touchdown vulture.
All
With
right.
his big-
Amari Cooper may be getting the catches and yards, but that's not where you get your big points at, boys. It's all about the touchdown.
But then you get a 2-point performance like you did this weekend. He's great player. But either of Crabtree or Cooper, so frustrating to own either one of them because you never know which one's going to have the big week.
All right. And 2 final positions, tight end with Brady back, Gronk and Bennett, big buys. Loves the tight end, like myself.
Nice.
Kobe Fleener. A rushing touchdown, a fluke. I'll give you that.
What was that?
He's working his way in.
I was watching that game.
How did that make you feel with Ingram on your team, Skrona?
Not good, my friend. Not good. But Ingram is the least of my problems. Hate to tell you that.
But I mean, that's Sean Payton. I mean, look, their fullback. I don't even remember who their fullback is. But he scored 2 rushing touchdowns too.
Coon. John
Coon fella.
Oh, the Coon.
Coon.
I mean, I
Are
think they
booing
only
him?
have
No,
like
they're saying Coon.
I think they have like 6 rushing touchdowns on the year, and only one of them has come from Ingram.
Phew.
All right,
Yep,
and I'm
there.
selling.
Yep.
I'm selling Charles Clay. Tyrod Taylor is too short.
No one ever bought him.
All over the middle. He has no touchdowns this year. Sell, sell, sell. And I'm selling Gary Barnidge. Sorry, Cleveland 0-6. And I'm buying the Bills. Here's my favorite segment where I get to talk about the Buffalo Bills. 4-2.
Rachel, we brought out a homer for you.
4-2. Number 2 in the AFC East. Number 5 in the AFC. I'm buying the Bills defense. No more than 18 points in the last 3 games. I'm selling Carolina. A number 1 ranked team goes to the Super Bowl and gives up 41 points to the New Orleans Saints. Now, I've always said this about the NFC East. I'm sorry, it's the NFC South. There's a new winner in that division every year, and this year I like the Falcons. And finally, I'm buying Rex Ryan, NFL Coach of the Year. I'm buying Lorenzo Alexander.
Look at JT, just can't even.
I'm buying Lorenzo Alexander as the comeback player of the year, and I'm buying Shady McCoy as the NFL MVP of offense. Thank you, gentlemen, for your time.
That's pretty funny. I'll let him take it.
That's good to see you're not biased in any way. Pretty logical, thought out. I mean, there's some truth to that, but
I can't believe you're buying into Rob Ryan.
I'm not buying into Rob Ryan. I don't think Rob Ryan is touching that defense. I think Rex Ryan is running that defense, and Rob's just there as a figurehead.
And surprisingly, they pull a no-one offensive coordinator, and it does seem to be successful.
No, he has a magic 8 ball, and he shakes it before every down, and he looks to say if he should blitz or not.
It's a sandwich. You're mistaken. It's a sandwich.
Leroy, I liked your segment there, man. It was pretty well researched.
It's nice to see the Bills get some good credit for sure.
It
It feels strange to.
Oh, Lee, you have a fan, Rachel. She so wants you in the league.
Oh,
Back in the league.
No. Haley.
if you only knew.
Haley, if you only knew.
Back in the league.
There were Trump-esque controversies here that got him removed.
I did keep the locker room banter to a minimum.
Listen,
We
if
could
somebody
put
leaves, Leroy, we'll consider putting you on the list. It's been a very consistent league lately, though.
This is a democracy. I'll make this league great again.
All right.
All right. Let's get to the
Ready
power.
for some power rankings, JT.
All right, I'm gonna burn through these pretty quick.
Wait, what? I'm sorry. Mom, I'm done with my segment.
Do your power rankings, JT. Go ahead.
We got a shakeup within a couple spots, and our middle section is pretty fat. We got 4 teams at 3-3, and then we have a pretty clear cut top of the crew, and a sadly clear cut bottom of the crew. But I am very pleased for the first time all year to announce a new basement dweller. And they are not on this podcast, surprisingly enough, even though I was very tempted to put him on there after his shellacking this week. But we're going to start with Angela. She is 1-5 with the least points in the league. And even Scarano has had a better go of it than her. I don't see too many prospects outside of Ajay. From the 11th spot, there's my man Scarano. Just to be clear, you are minus 200 in the point differential on the year. Minus 200. You doubled that just this past week with a ass whooping. You lost by 104 points. It was one of the finest things I've ever seen.
Thanks, Jay. Glad to hear that, man.
And just because I feel good, I'm moving myself up to number 10. That's right. I'm on a, count it, 1-game winning streak, doubling my total from 0 to 1, and averaging 135 the last 2 weeks. I'm actually playing a little better. So I have a bottom 3 there. Any arguments, concerns?
I'm not giving you any arguments with this, sir.
I wouldn't buy Jay Ajayi. I think it's a flash in the pan. It's a fluke.
That's
happen
fine.
again.
I'm not sure it's going to make a huge difference for Angela anyway.
No, I will say the Dolphins' offensive line they finally played their offensive line that they wanted to play starting at the beginning of the year. Getting healthier. I'm
just one of these organizations that I think needs like a disciplinarian as a coach. I think there's just too much fun stuff. Nobody's focused. It's just a team that I can't buy into. Sorry.
you're not going to get 200 yards every week.
He goes against the number 1 defense, in my opinion, in the NFL this weekend. My prediction is less than 70 total yards. You heard it here first.
That's a little
You heard
bit
it here
small.
first.
That's beyond absurd.
That's absurd. Now, continue your power rankings, JT. This
All right.
foolishness.
The chatterbox herself comes in at number 9. That would be Rachel. I know that's worked out nicely for her. I put her at number 8 last week, subliminally not having her realize that that was because she was playing with me, and I know she only plays well when she is in at number 9. So
She's playing me this week, though.
yes, that's exactly why I put her back at number 9. From there, we moved up to Rich, the first of the 3 and 3s. He's actually plus 25 in the overall, but he has the lowest amount of points of all the 3 and 3s, and he just took a pretty ugly loss to my wife. And then rounding out the bottom 6, I actually have Casey. He's been really a little higher on the list, but he took a big loss, even with his Cowboys doing well. He has the highest points of the 3 and 3s, but he had the L, so he is trending in the wrong direction.
And he has a tough
And as
match.
Dak Prescott on the bench, the fellow the steal of the draft that he got, I'm glad to hear that. I'd move him down 1.
And he has
Yeah,
a tough
Tamala.
matchup against Scarano this week.
Tamala, hit up. What has he got on?
Scarano had one of the highest scores that's ever been scored in the league this year. Or is it second highest in the league this year? Just so you know, don't count me out.
Tamala, do you have his team up? Can you see what he has on bye this week?
Yeah, hold on one second.
Because I was just looking at it. It was bad.
Where mine is actually looking
Let's
pretty
see. Well, he has the Cowboys on bye, and he has Benjamin on the bye.
So he loses his quarterback, potentially his tight end, his star running back, and one of his wide receivers. That's a rough week. Tamale, you
Okay, but like you pointed out, he's rolling with 3 quarterbacks on his team.
I'm sure he could still mess it up.
We'll leave it at that.
I'll be interested. Scrano, this is your week, buddy. Time for
It'd
you
be,
to shine.
it'd be nice for a win there. Maybe we could throw him out and bring in that real tall one who came in after him. Leroy. All right. I'll consider this.
Let's get to the top 6. We have
Don't worry, he doesn't watch. Go ahead, JT. I'm sorry.
That's good. 2 teams that are coming in at the 5 and the 6 spots. Both of them now with an even point differential that matches their record. Michael coming in number 6 with a win last week. Squad's looking better all the time. And now that he has Le'Veon back, I think he's got to be pleased with how that's going. Colin coming in at number 5. The biggest jump. I thought he was dead in the water, but we had been talking for a couple weeks that if he got back his stars with Brady and a couple other guys he took a risk on, that he might be all right. He's got 2 wins in a row now and really making a push, defeating Casey. And then coming in at number 4, I have my wife. Her team's actually looking a little better than when I had in the last couple rankings, but she's still only 6th in points. So even though she has one of the best 3 records, I do not think that her points have matched up with that. But you know what? She keeps winning. So
I think you have her ranked a little low. Wins a win.
You could just
wins are wins.
expect
But everybody above her
to
has the same wins or 1 less.
Now, I just have a quick question to pose to the group. How did Le'Veon Bell do this past week against the Miami Dolphins when Ben Roethlisberger was out? was underimpressed.
Wasn't great. That's perfectly fine with me. I don't have him, so.
I still keep him as one of the top backs in the leagues. I'm sorry. Like I just think.
You know what? This is what I'll say. D'Angelo Williams looked a lot better as a runner than Bell has looked at any point this year.
But he catches and he's a touchdown hawk. You're not seeing D'Angelo.
That is his role in the passing game is what really brings the value for Bell.
Well, perhaps those left-handed cigarettes are catching up with him.
Oh my.
All right, top 3. I just for the enjoyment of being able to knock him down, put Brian down to number 3, while he's finally picked up his first L of the year. It felt weird for me to rank him above somebody that he just lost to. So at the L brought him down to number 2, and then I'm looking at the person right below him, and I have to move him down to number 3. So I still like his squad a lot. I would trade with him in a heartbeat, but right now he's coming in at number 3.
He only sends fishing trades, so just so maybe you'll hear that.
Okay.
But buddy, he doesn't need to make. I mean,
he'll fish you either way. That doesn't stop him, my friend.
I got Jake at number 2. He took down the top spot. He's got 2 wins in a row, and even though he's got 1 less win than Brian, taking him out this past week with that Lamar Miller game has to vault him up. And then my reverse curse has not been successful at all, but I will continue to try. We have Tamala in the top spot, 4 wins in a row, doubling anybody else in the league. And the biggest plus minus in the league other than you, Tamala, is Brian with plus 70 and my wife with plus 60. And Tamala, you are plus 190.
Yep.
Most of that was Scarano, to be fair, but
well, no, but I've scored more than 100 points more than anyone else.
He has the most points.
You are a clear cut.
He has the most points. And all you have control of is scoring points.
There is no doubt you are the top team. I cannot wait to watch you lose in round 1. Sorry, wait, you'll have a bye. Round 2.
Round 2.
Thank you.
Just out of curiosity, is your rankings purely on win losses, or have you guys ever think to adopt a format where a win is?
It's very haphazard, my friend. Oh no. JT writes them down in the notebook he stole from me.
A win is worth 1 point, and the top 6 teams with the most points each get a point as well.
We've discussed
I've heard of that
a couple weeks. Yeah, I think that could be potentially adopted next year. My rankings
gained some traction, I would say.
What's that?
It's gained some traction, I would say, in just the conversations we've even been having here and among some of the people in the league on like a little bit of the group chat. It's gained some traction.
But honestly, I think by the time the draft rolls around and we vote on the rules, people will have forgotten and they'll just want to keep it how it is and not have to think about something new.
All right. Okay. It's very possible.
If they don't have to do anything, though, and somebody else keeps it for them, I think that would be something that people might be into.
You really don't have to do anything. You're always trying to get the most points you can.
Yeah, it doesn't change anything about what you do.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
So
how can you control somebody that blows up against you? If you had the second most points in the league, what kind of taste would be left in your mouth if you were left with a big L at the end of the week?
Oh, that happened to me. That's my 1 loss.
It's happened. It's happened to everybody.
Happened to me last week. So, I mean, we've all been there without a doubt. And that's why I think it may stick around a little more. People will support that. I've talked to, I would say, at least 5 members that say they would be in for it now. Now, Tamala, you might be right. Maybe that dissipates as time goes, but
it's true.
Perhaps a mandation for your league would be to give all of your members a quiz on this podcast. And if they weren't able to answer the questions correctly, then
there'd be some very low scores, my friend.
Yeah, strictly Bill's stats questions.
I mean, but honestly, like I think
did I wear on week 4?
I think we should talk about rules and before the draft.
Yeah.
Yes.
I always
Yes,
try
I
and
think
get it
that's
going.
what we really need to do. Is maybe we could have done a better job with the video podcast and everything, really getting into it. But that's
Well-
if people watch it.
But like, no, I'm like, I think we should vote before the draft. Like, have them in place like a month before the draft, at least.
At the end of this year.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think we could do it at the end of the year. When
That
people
would I like better.
talking football.
We
could
could
even
do it all online and everything too.
Yeah, we could do it during the playoffs. I mean, it's going to change for next year, but at least everybody's still paying attention then. And
Yes. I like it.
it
That's
would
a good
get
idea.
that all out of the way before next year and not having to worry about votes and getting people there on time.
I like it.
No.
Breaking
I'm
news,
anticipating-
Toronto.
What's this?
Michael says it takes Toronto 3 games to score what he put up against me.
Now I'm
I had
anticipating.
the second highest score in the league. I mean, look, man.
I'm anticipating a hot take from a gentleman who's dressed peculiarly week to week. I've watched hot
We're ready
takes
for one, guys.
from week to week, and bold prediction: it'll probably only be lukewarm.
Okay. You know, I woke up today and I was thinking, what could I say for my hot take? And in general, I'm a Bills fan, but I also cheer for the NC State Wolfpack. And as you could see, I wore my hat, my glasses, and I thought to myself, man, there's a team that has everything that had everything going for them, but sure found a way to screw it up. So I started to think to myself, what team has a way to have everything for them? I'm going to suggest to you that the Dallas Cowboys O-line is the best offensive unit in football. Take any defensive unit, any corners, any wide receivers. It's the Cowboys O-line that's the best. So you know what I'm going to do on this one? I'm going to drink the Kool-Aid. Now, the next one that I'm going to have here for the Kool-Aid is going to be to Rachel Haley. Rachel, I was wrong. They look great. It's 4 in a row. I'm buying it completely. Just going to dump a little bit of it out here, and you'll see what I mean. So everyone's really worried about 2 quarterbacks coming up. One is Romo. One's Dak. Now, I want to start out with Romo here. In the past 19 games, Romo has the #1 passing rating in football and the highest percentage of accuracy. As much as we don't like him and he's been hurt and we just haven't seen him play in a while, I hate to do this. But I drink on him. But we have to talk about Dak, and it has to be discussed. He's been fantastic. I know it's a little bit dip and dunk, but I'm going to tell you what the problem is. It has nothing to do with either of these fellas who I've named so far that'll screw this up. The absence of a certain player has been everything. See, the deal is Dallas is playing well as a team. Their running game, their offensive line, their receivers, quarterback, all in sync. Defense looks great. I wonder somebody who can maybe mess this up for everybody. And his name is Des Bryant. And I predict when he comes back, he will be the fall of the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid on him. But you've noticed I haven't drank all the Kool-Aid on everybody here. I still have quite a bit in the dish here. And I can't diss her out anymore. I really can't. She was right. I was wrong. Now, we had a bet after the show, and Rachel and I talked for quite some time. And we said, if they win in the next 2 weeks, I have to do it. So right now, guys, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. Take it away, Matt.
Well,
Toronto,
if I may just have a second, I'm utterly impressed. As Ron Jeremy once said, it's not how you start, but it's how you finish.
but like, okay, Des is still there with the team. Like, it's not like he's hidden away from the team.
A ball hog diva can mess up something like this. No. A ball hog diva is exactly what causes the problem. If you think it's Romo or you think it's Dak that are going to be the problem, it is not. It's him adjusting to either of those situations.
No,
I would suggest to
Jerry
you
Jones.
their best situation would be to cut this one right where it is. You have a winning offense without him.
Why do you have an owner talking about a quarterback controversy that's not a controversy yet? Because Romo has not
I
considered
know it's a controversy. I don't care what he says.
Is-
I know that Romo is going to be back and healthy at some point, and I know Dak is winning games. It is a controversy.
Jerry Jones has
The
early
way
stage
it's going to
dementia.
get messed up is your boy right here.
All right,
He
but
will
here's
mess this up.
to be fair. While the Cowboys have been playing very well, I haven't exactly seen them defeat anybody substantial yet. They have very good units.
The Green Bay Packers were 4-1.
In
They went to
Lambeau.
Lambeau.
Yeah,
In Lambeau.
all right. But everybody has been admitting that Rodgers has not looked anywhere near as good. They have not played well at all. They had no running game whatsoever.
And they have
I
no
fully
defense.
admit this.
And they have
but
no
we can't deny how good Dallas looks. Their offensive line is the best in the business. Listen,
All
their
right.
problem isn't going to be these two guys. When they fall apart, it'll be him.
That's it. But I don't think it has anything to do with
No, Dallas' problem is going to be their defense. They have no
Disagree. I think
defense.
their defense looked great. Disagree. Their problem's coming right here. A diva will not like the spotlight off of him. You mark my word.
Their problem is Jerry Jones, a.k.a. L. Davis Jr.
No, week 13 against the Vikings, we will see exactly.
Week 13? Week 13. Come on, man.
All right, so Scarano, Dallas Cowboy defense is available. Are you going to pick them up?
I'll consider that one. I wouldn't say my
don't
defense.
consider. Tell me you're going to pick them up and play them this week.
Yeah.
I don't think they're necessarily better than the Patriots defense.
That you liked how they looked.
I do, but it's between the Patriots and the Cowboys here. I don't necessarily think that that's a huge one. I'll tell you this, I'd pick them up on a bye, and I'd ditch the Patriots one in a second. I think their defense is
ranked
solid.
defense.
They're what?
17th ranked, tied with the Panthers.
Yeah, that's fantasy points, though, to be fair. Before we get out of here, you want to look at the week ahead tomorrow?
Sure. Let me pull it up.
I'll get the first one. The first game that we got is involving me, and I go against Brian. So best record in the league against worst record in the league. I know you'll be rooting for me, but I can't feel great. The only thing I like about it is that he has Cam out.
Yep. Next, we got your wife going up against Michael.
Yep. She's got to not losing anybody to a bye. All he loses is Jonathan Stewart, which he had a nice game last week, but
Good game.
he got him a lot. So.
Michael's team is solid, man.
Yeah.
Depends on Le'Veon
Tough
Bell.
matchup. Tough one. What's next, Ma?
Next, we have Rich against Jake.
Jake's been streaking. Rich has been inconsistent. Neither one of them seems to lose anybody to a bye. They both have pretty good projected scores.
Take Jake.
I think I'd take Jake too, but it's tough call right now.
See, every time you think Rich is out, he comes back and puts together a good, solid couple weeks.
It's true. And then we got your matchup, Tamala. We got you against Haley. Neither one of you losing anybody. She is actually predicted to beat you. I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I haven't changed my flex positions. But she had a lot of points left on her bench.
Giving him monster points.
Yeah. Scarano, we're all counting on you in the next game to take down Dak Gashaw.
I hope so.
He's getting hammered with buys, man. I mean, if you're going to beat him, this is the week.
Okay.
4 starters.
I'll play it well. As of right now, with Roethlisberger being out, that's going to be a little bit tough for me, but I have some things up my sleeve.
Yeah, you're going to need somebody in there because right now you have 10 players and you're only projected for 93 points. That's an embarrassment.
Okay.
Your taste in fantasy football players is a lot like your taste in clothing.
The pink or the
Whore.
pack?
And that brings us to the final matchup, which is Colin versus Angela. Colin's been streaking. Angela's been plummeting.
I think Kyle will take this one.
I think Colin's got certainly the upper hand, but I would be happy if he took him down.
All right, I'm in.
All right. I think that wraps it.
Guys, have a good night. Thank you for joining us for the Fantasy Trail. For Mike, JT, and our special guest Lee, this is Matt. Have a good week. We'll see you next week at 9.
Later, guys.
Yep, told you I'd do it, Haley.